he's not telling the whole story.
There was a chip company. I don't know if it was Lay's. I want to say it was Lay's. Oop. I want to say it was Lay's that created a biodegradable bag. And I thought that was genius. Because I bought some of these chips. And the bag was sturdy. It was nice. I expected it to be paper, actually.
Paper is biodegradable, yes.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, at least usually.
It was a different kind of composite. And I remember thinking, oh, this was a good idea. They should all be doing this. I mean, makes sense. I'm not about to let these chips sit on the shelf until the packaging biodegrades. Not to mention, if it sits in the shelf, it's not going to be exposed to the elements. It'll probably last a good while. Anyway, I haven't seen those bags anymore. What happened? They were a good idea. Was it too expensive to produce them? Is that the deal?
Yes.
I legitimately thought they were a fantastic idea. Yeah. Make shit out of that.
No. There's actually companies out there that make for like a 6-pack of soda or beer, the plastic rings. There are companies that make those that are biodegradable and edible.
I remember that. Yes.
They are out there, but they are more costly than the disposable plastic.
I do make it a point that whenever I do get something, it's the plastic rings, I do stop and actually cut. And that was entirely because someone posted a picture of a turtle with the ring around it. And it had grown with that ring around it.
Yeah, they can't get them off.
He couldn't get it off, yeah. And I felt guilty. That's all it took. It wasn't someone trying to push a narrative.
How dare you?
No, it wasn't someone with any kind of political message. It was literally some random person that said, dude, look what I found. Look at this. That's messed up. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Yeah.
And that's all it took.
Yeah.
That got the message across. It wasn't the whole bleeding heart, like, this is what happens. It wasn't any of that. It was just some random person that posted a picture, and I felt guilty about it because I would just throw them out.
Yeah.
It was these Gatorade rings that I just throw out, and then that was enough. After that day, I like turtles. I've always liked turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I grew up with that.
What's that kid's name? Is Stubbs the Zombie or something like that? I like turtles.
And you know what? Seeing that poor turtle disfigured because of this ring was enough for me to be like, never again. I will clip my rings. And I did, and I have. But that's not enough. That's not enough to make any kind of change. The real change would have to come from the big companies. Biodegradable bags.
Yes, but that doesn't keep their quarterly earnings reports up.
I know.
You gotta remember, when you're dealing with corporations, we're
not dealing with real men.
We're not dealing with humans. You're dealing with psychopaths who are worried about one thing.
Scum.
They're worried about actually two things. Quarterly earnings reports and stock price.
Yep, that's true.
Because as long as those things are doing well, they get paid. So whatever it takes to keep those things up, to keep those things happy, to keep the investors happy, that's whatever it takes. You got to keep those earnings. If they got to lay off thousands of people, they will do it. If they got to make their packages out of stuff that is dangerous, they don't care.
It's scummy.
It is scummy. When you're dealing with the board of directors, you're not dealing with humans. You're dealing with psychopaths. People who smell of overpriced, they reek of overpriced cologne and psychopathy.
This is true.
That is what happens in a board of directors rooms.
By the way, that's not an exaggeration. They are at a level of psychopathy. They are psychos. You got to have the same mentality, the same level of thinking to run a corporation, to run a big company.
Yes.
You cannot have a single shred of sympathy or humanity. That gets in the way.
It gets in the way. It costs money. It slows down process times. And, well, you can. It's just that's the exception and not the norm.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we complain about corporations at work a lot. It's one of Steven's favorite things. That and the Habsburgs.
Yes. All right. Sympathy and humanity.
That was a hard one for me. I'm kind of a bastard.
Yes. All right. So having... Did you just mute us?
No, I just realized I left channels 3 and 4 open, and sometimes they make staticky noises. Like, oh crap, there's probably been staticky noises in the background the last hour and a half.
Oh crap. All right. So having a certain level of sympathy. Having a certain level of sympathy, of mercy, even.
Okay, that's how I did read you.
That is a good staple of being a man. You know, cruelty does not make a man. Absolutely not. Cruelty is easy. Anger is easy. Hate is easy. But being able to swallow that and make the right decision, that's a man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and we touched on that before. Jordan Peterson freaking nailed it for being a... You know, you'd look at him and you wouldn't think it, but, you know, he's pretty manly in that regard, that he says, it takes no virtue to be harmless, to be weak. I'm not hurting you, but I don't have the capacity to either. Well, then that's not virtue. That just means you don't have the ability. It's not that you don't have the desire, you just don't have the ability. Maybe you do have the desire, but you can't act on it. That takes nothing. A person who has the ability to destroy another person. Are you getting attacked by gnats?
Yes.
But a person who has the ability, the means, motive, and opportunity to absolutely destroy another person, but doesn't. That takes virtue. That takes strength. That is what makes you a human.
So, in short...
That is what makes you a man.
Yes. So, in short, the difference between being peaceful and harmless is having the capacity to do harm.
Yes.
So, if you have the capacity to do harm and you choose not to, that makes you peaceful. If you lack the capacity to do harm, you're just harmless.
Yeah. I mean, that's the difference.
Mm-hmm.
That is the difference. And I guess a great example of that, I see those memes often, fairly often. For some reason, they often get paired with Uncle Iroh.
Nah, yeah.
Be the man Uncle Iroh wants you to be.
Uncle Iroh is a badass.
Yes.
He was tough. He was capable.
He punched his way out of a steel cage.
He really did.
The day of Black Sun, he punched his way out of a goddamn steel cage.
Okay. All right. Any schmuck with a gun could take out a lion, a bear, or a tiger. Oh, my. But the men that have somehow befriended a pack of lions, wolves, bears, a tiger... I mean, there's this great picture of a guy giving a full-grown tiger a hug. Tigers are huge, especially when they stand on their hind legs.
600 pounds of teeth and claws.
Yes, this man is full-on giving his grown-ass tiger a hug. Holy hell. That dude's a man. That dude is the balls of steel on
Steve
that guy.
Irwin! Crocodile Hunter.
Steve Irwin.
Oh, my God.
That guy. Absolutely wonderful human being. That was a man.
Somewhere between the most beautiful of men and the most insane of men. To be able to look at a crocodile, evolutionarily unchanged for the last 100,000 years, because they were already apex predators, capable of killing whatever they want to. And he's like, look at that beautiful animal. I'm going to go play with it.
And he would. He'd jump on the damn thing. He wouldn't hurt them. He wouldn't hurt them.
No, and that's why he's a Legend.
Absolutely amazing. And the dangerous venomous snakes that he would handle, the amount of times he was bitten by non-venomous snakes, and he wouldn't flinch.
Yeah.
He wouldn't flinch.
That means he's either very confident and comfortable, or has already been bitten enough times to know this is not a problem, and it doesn't even hurt. How high was his pain tolerance?
Also, he understood the saying that pain, especially physical pain, is temporary.
Except for lower back pain. That shit's permanent. I had to.
That man was amazing.
Yes.
Absolutely, of course, permanent seat at the table of men.
Absolutely.
At the council of men. Yes. And his son, who has picked up the gauntlet, has done his own
Daughter
thing.
as well, I think. Doesn't he have a daughter?
He does, yes.
I'll have to look that up.
She's also done so much. She is fantastic. She's married. I believe she has a kid now, maybe? Look that up.
I'll look that up.
Yes.
And as far as I know, they've picked up the torch and carried it and are running with it.
Yes. Recently, it was great to see that Steve Irwin's son has found his father's old motorcycle, dirt bike, and he has repaired it, and it is up and running, and he now rides it around the facility to care for the animals, just like his father did. And of course, here I am comparing him just to his father. He himself has done wonderful and amazing things that stand out.
Finding his name right now.
Yes, for just being the person that he is.
Robert Irwin.
He, I mean, little things. A TikTok channel, a YouTube channel, whatever it is, he's on social media because that is the way that he is reaching people. Steve Irwin, of course, was reaching people with his show.
Yeah. Well, he died as social media was still fledgling. It was still just getting off the ground.
Right.
It wasn't as ubiquitous as it is today.
Yes. Fun fact.
People weren't updating their Instas in the grocery stores yet.
Yes. Fun fact, just about everyone in the Irwin family has had a species of snail named after them. How cool is that?
What?
Yeah. They've discovered their own species of snails. Now, Steve also has a turtle named after him, and that turtle was an endangered species, but now it is flourishing within their facility.
Yeah, I stumbled onto the article right here. Robert Irwin is celebrating the birth of a turtle whose species was discovered by his father, Steve Irwin.
Exactly.
What?
Yep. And that species is now flourishing thanks to that family's efforts. And I love the fact that all of them have a snail named after them, a snail species named after them. I thought that was pretty cool. Also,
I want a species of turtle named after me. That's awesome.
I will take a snail. I don't care. A snail, a bird, a turtle. I love turtles. But it's just cool to have something named after you. Being a person that discovered a species, and then not only that, being the gatekeeper to that species, guarding that species, making sure that it does not disappear off the face of this earth.
Right.
That goes above and beyond, and that is beautiful.
Yeah, he died in 2006. Wow. Yeah.
I know. It feels like it was still. It feels like it wasn't that long ago.
It feels like yesterday. Yes.
It's coming up almost 20 years now.
Wow.
That's insane.
Robert
Bindi. Bindi is Steve Irwin's daughter. Yes, Bindi.
Yeah, Bindi. Yeah, here she is.
Yep.
And okay, here's a video of Bindi Irwin gives birth to first child with husband Chandler Powell.
Wonderful.
Fantastic. That is a whole family of just continuing to preserve and educate public on the beauty of various aspects of wildlife.
Yes, and many of which are dangerous. Dangerous animals, dangerous wildlife. And they're around them like it's nothing.
That's because they know where to be around them. I was watching this video of there was a guy who was in a pond with a crocodile. And okay, gotta remember, these people know what they're doing. You do not. I do not. You do not. You do not. These people do. So he's in a pond with some crocodile that he's named, and this is Argus. I'm just gonna name him Argus, I guess. And and it talks about names and facts about the crocodile, and he's like, and one thing you gotta remember is that he is a crocodile. They are murderous creatures. They will try to attack you. But I am in his safety zone, which means he's in the zone to where it would be more effort than it's worth for the crocodile to try and turn around and attack him. He's out of snapping range. Crocodiles attack by snapping very quickly. They don't run very well.
Actually, they're pretty quick. Straight line.
Yeah. Well, for short bursts.
Exactly.
They're sprinters. They don't have any long length speed.
Mm-hmm.
If you can dodge their initial attack, you can get away from them. They
This
tested
is
that
true.
on Mythbusters.
Yes.
Because some people swore that if you went in a zigzag pattern, you could evade them.
Nope.
Actually, all you have to do is get away from their initial attack. Just run straight away from them. They'll give up. They don't like leaving their rivers.
They don't like expending too much energy.
True. They're kind of an ambush predator.
Mm-hmm.
If they can sneak up on you and get you quickly, yes. If they have to chase you, no. They ain't down for it. So he's floating in this thing. He's explaining being in the safe zone. And he's like, and I love him. He does not love me. I love him, but he does not love me.
I've seen this video. Wow, he was right up to that thing's snout.
He puts his hand like
Right
and,
underneath it. Yeah, he lifts it.
Yeah, he's like, and just a demonstration that I'm in the safe zone. So if I do this,
And then it snaps. Yeah.
snaps at him, but he pulls his hand back quick enough. It's like, see, yeah, he will attack me because I love him. He doesn't love me.
Yep. It's about right.
They are cold-blooded killing machines. Archer's three greatest fears: crocodiles, alligators, and cerebral edemas.
And that's not to say that these big dumb dinosaurs can't be I don't want to say trained, because I've seen that they get used to certain cues. They know when slapping the corpse of a chicken on the side of the water means dinner time. Yeah. Shoot, there's one that learned that it needs to get out of its enclosure when the side doors open. So it fucks off out of the enclosure. Why? Because it knows that after it's got it. First off, it's got a nice area to swim outside of its enclosure. It's got some nice space to get a little bit of swimming in, stretch its legs. But when it comes back after the enclosure's been cleaned, there's food available. Like, they can put two and two together. But that's not to say that it will not take an opportunity if it isn't presented.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it finds a cat outside, just at the edge of the water, it'll snap at it.
It's gonna have a kitty snack.
Mm-hmm. So, they are opportunists. Yeah. So, if Daddy happens to fall into the enclosure, screw going out the door, it's mealtime.
Yeah. And really, a lot of animals are that way. A lot of animals can put two and two together.
Mm-hmm.
They can figure things out. A really cute anecdote was Disneyland. You've got the horse-led carriages that go up and down Main Street.
Ah, yes.
Okay. Now those horses have to be taken care of very nicely, and they're around people. And oh wow, the booze is kicking and my hearing's going. And it's a weird thing that my sense of hearing is one of the first things affected by booze.
Weird.
Yeah.
I'm not even feeling it, to be completely honest.
Well, I kind of am. But I notice I tend to talk higher
Ah.
louder. But the horse-drawn carriages that go up and down Main Street, and they run them for they'd run them for a set amount of time, and then take them into the back to let the horse rest. You have to let the horse decompress and they've got the side blinders on. That helps to help the horse to not get spooked. Because there's people running, there's crowds, and there's noise, and there's kids running in front of it, whatnot. There's always some things going on Main Street in Disneyland.
Right.
It's a busy environment.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things there that can spook a horse. So you have to let the horse decompress and just chill. Let it eat the hay, drink the water, just in this still environment. And the horses would make a certain number of laps in that given time. It'd be like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or whatever. 30 minutes on stage, an hour backstage.
Mm-hmm.
And it would make like 5 laps. The horses figured 5 laps, and it's time to go back. Go where the food is. The horses started walking faster to get their laps done in time. It got to where the horses were making the laps too fast. And the guy had to start making no, we're going to make for 6 laps. But the horses wanted to go backstage and get the food.
They figured it out.
It's like, no. You're on a time, not number of laps. But try to explain that to a horse.
Of course, yeah. And get this. Likewise, the horses are intelligent enough to remember where home is. That's a big thing.
That is a legal statute.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I remember this one. Yes.
Go ahead.
All right. To my understanding, a drunk man was he riding the horse, or was he a horse-drawn carriage?
He was riding it.
He was riding.
Cowboy.
He was riding a horse.
Cowboy was riding his horse home.
Drunk as hell. Drunk as hell. I guess a cop pulls him over.
For DUI.
Yep, for DUI. The argument, of course, being not really driving. The horse knows where he's going. Something around the.
Yeah, that was his argument. The horse knows the way home.
The horse knows the way home.
And the horse is sober.
and you know what? That is true.
And the judge held it.
Mm-hmm.
The guy got off the DUI and the judge upheld it.
Because it's true. Anyone that knows anything about horses are intelligent enough to know where home is.
I think it was in Louisiana.
Yes. And I've seen it enough times. I really have. Because I've had uncles and aunts, and even my father at one point owned horses. Once the horse has established where home is, wherever they may be, they know
where their food is.
Yeah, they can dismount, give the horse a good slap, and it's going straight home.
Yeah.
It's going home. There's nowhere else for it to go. It knows where food and sleep is. Shelter, food, sleep.
I know a guy who used to say that.
Yeah.
When I worked at DPS, okay, the parts runner there, Bill, awesome old man. He was the most awesome, cranky old man. I liked him a lot. And he lived out in Tranquility or one of those little burbs out there near Kerman.
Mm-hmm.
And he would go to the bar. He would ride his horse to the bar, have a few drinks, and ride the horse home. And he was the first person to use the phrase, that sentence, the horse knows the way home. So a few weeks later, when I saw a news article about a Louisiana man in court using that as a defense and the judge upholding it, it really blew my mind. Like, hey, Bill, yeah, you're smarter than you know. Check this out. Yeah, I hold up my phone like, Bill, check this out. Horse knows the way home.
The horse knows the way.
There's legal precedent. It's a.
I love it. I love it. It is fantastic. And of course, this applies to many other animals. Man's best friend, dogs, are intelligent enough to aid man.
Okay, but dogs cannot drive.
Dogs cannot drive.
And you should not try to ride your dog.
Absolutely not. That's not what I'm suggesting here. But the fact that we have seeing eye dogs is amazing. It still blows my mind to this day that we have dogs for the blind.
Service dogs.
Yeah,
they're amazing animals.
They're fantastic. That we have dogs that are Despite the crazy technology that we have today, we have yet to find something to replace man's best friend when it comes to detecting when someone's about to have an epileptic seizure, when they're about to faint, when they're about to have an episode, when their blood sugar's too low.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah. I've seen that.
Dogs can tell. There's dogs that can smell cancer.
Yeah.
This is 1,000 times more sensitive than any of the scanners, the blood tests, anything that we have existing today cannot beat the sense of smell that a dog has.
Smell and intuition.
And intuition, yes. Dogs have a crazy sense of intuition as well. It's so insane. So it's crazy that we still have to put our faith and our trust in other animals.
I mean, generally speaking, I trust most. Well, okay, and we're being more specific. Not all dogs.
Not all dogs.
Some dogs are about as brainless as a shoe.
This is true.
They are just north of a bag of... They're on par with a bag of hammers.
Mm-hmm.
My mom has like 7 dogs that are brainless yap mutts. And I've looked at these animals. And it's like, why are you barking? You've seen me countless times. You know who I am. My mom just told you to shut up. And you're still barking. And then you look at this dog in the face.
To be fair, we did breed the stupid into them.
Oh my god, it worked too well.
It worked too well.
Chihuahuas.
Useless.
Useless rats. They're large rats. And these things are like, I guess they're part Chihuahua, whatever they are. They're mutts. And they're brainless yap mutts because you could see it in their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
That they are just as confused as you are. I don't know why I'm barking, but I know that I can't stop. If I stop, something will happen, so I need to keep barking. Because it's like, you look at them, and you can tell, there's no one home.
Yep, nope. But they love mom. That's about it's their full extent of their usefulness.
So, German Shepherds, Golden Labs,
Great.
Jack Russell Terriers,
Fantastic.
Corgis, what are some other smart...
Wiener dogs.
Wiener dogs are incredibly smart as well, yes.
They're also hunting dogs. Do you know that?
Most of your smart dogs were hunting dogs.
I had no clue until recently that wiener dogs were bred to be shaped that way so that they can hunt rodents.
Yeah, so that's why their legs are so small.
Yeah,
So it tucks in.
yeah, they tuck in. That they're bred this small and that intelligent to hunt rats and vermin and moles and voles and birds and anything that fits.
Burrows.
Yeah, in burrows. It's fantastic. I didn't see that before. I just thought they were funny shaped. No, that shape has a purpose.
Yeah.
I've seen videos of these dogs mauling and destroying rats. And after they're done with the first one, they run off and grab the next one, and they're efficient and they're smart and they're listening to commands. And I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, and they're fast.
Yeah.
Those grubby little legs are fast.
I mean, it's comical to watch. It's kind of comical to think about. It's like their legs are only this long, and
Yeah.
they're just like...
Yep, and they take off. No, those dogs have a purpose, and they are more intelligent than I first gave them credit for.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, dogs that were bred for hunting tend to be smart.
Thank goodness.
Whereas dogs that were bred for aesthetics,
Companionship, I guess.
Shih Tzus, Chihuahuas,
Mm-mm.
any of these little teacup dogs
Blech.
are just, they're bred for pugs. They're bred for aesthetics and are useless and are stupid.
I feel really bad for pugs. So many health issues.
And they were bred that way. The flatness.
And that's our fault.
It is. It is. They're not supposed to be that way.
Who thought that was aesthetically pleasing?
I don't know. probably the same person have you seen what's going on in women's fashion these days?
I try not to.
These people look like, I don't know, mutated fish. I mean, I see you watch the video on X or Instagram or whatever, and it's behind a woman. You're looking at her back. She's in an evening dress and she's walking along, and then she turns around and it's like an alien had a run-in with a curling iron because her lips are like this big and her cheekbones are huge.
What is up with the plummeting of the lips? That stuff that they put.
It's like collagen and saline or whatever. It's just like. No,
that's not attractive.
No, it's raw. It's not. It's horrible. It's like, my God, the aliens have landed.
It looks like they were having an allergic reaction to something, and their lips have swollen. I'm not joking. That's what I first thought when I first saw it.
Get the EpiPens.
Yeah, I was thinking that girl needs to get an EpiPen quick. Her throat's about to swell up. Someone save this girl. But no, it turns out she applied something that swole up her lips on purpose.
No, she paid for medical procedures.
And of course, yeah. And then there's the women that permanently swell up their lips by injecting,
whatever it is.
Whatever it is. No, don't do that. Mm-hmm. Don't do that.
It's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
It's horrible. No man finds that attractive, ladies.
Mm-mm.
Don't. We need the resurgence of natural beauty.
Absolutely.
Yes. Because if your man loves you, he will love every gray hair, every wrinkle. It won't matter to him. And if he is a man at all, he's going to watch you age like fine wine. And if he starts to think
ale.
at all, or fine mead, or fine ale,
mm-hmm.
and also remember that he too is aging. And keep himself humble.
Good times.
So, I mean, ladies, don't. So fashion, people do stupid things for fashion, and sometimes it's permanent.
Mm-hmm.
Other times it's just stupid. I mean, if I live to be 100, which I probably won't, but if I live to be 100, I'll never understand clothing fashion.
I'll never understand Brazilian butt lifts. But where I work, let me just put it to you this way. Asses are not meant to bend 90 degrees. It is not aesthetically pleasing to see an ass that is a shelf and then...
Nope.
No.
I agree.
That is weird.
That is weird.
In fact, I had a hard time understanding what I was looking at. It's like, does she have boxes in her pants? I thought that perhaps she had some sort of Tupperware tubs tucked in her butt.
Sometimes it goes wrong. It looks like they're wearing a diaper.
Yeah. No, this woman had a Brazilian butt lift, hence the really tight pants she was wearing, and the 2 Tupperware containers that she called her butt cheeks. It was weird. Ugh. It was weird. Then, of course, when she turned around and both her, tits were pointing north permanently, everything on her was plastic.
Oh.
There was nothing pleasing about any part of her. If you ventured a little bit further north and you saw her face, you would immediately know that too much Botox had been injected into that face for her to ever have a proper expression. Yeah.
No.
And her eyebrows appeared to be a permanent form of shock, as of course they were painted on.
I've never understood that. I saw girls doing that back when I was in high school, and I still don't understand
it. They still do it today.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of come and gone, but it's like, why? You shave it all, you pluck it all out, and then draw them on?
Yeah, that's weird. Okay, there is one guest that comes to my workplace that I believe she may have permanently had them removed via laser, and then she just draws them on. She is an interesting Asian lady, but she is not mentally there. Her fashion choices are strange. So there's times where she begins shaving her head, gives up halfway, and then goes out that way.
That is not uncommon, I'm sad to say. That is not uncommon, and they're often multicolored.
She does tend to paint her face in funny colors.
Their hair is often multicolored, usually pink, green, blue, purple.
I don't think I've ever seen her with multicolored hair, but yeah, I would be surprised.
Yeah. My sister, unfortunately, is one of these persons. Began identifying as a they, them.
Okay.
Non-binary. They, them. Yeah, partially shaved. Easter egg colors on this side, shaved on one side. Face tattoos, the fish hooks.
Face tattoos.
That's an absolute nope.
Look, I'm willing to accept just about everything else. The face tattoos are a hard no. That's yeah. I know that you are free to self-express in any way you please. However, unfortunately, despite how many times you are told not to give a crap about what other people think, we live in a world where we have to judge a book by its cover, especially when you're trying to get a job.
Oh my god, if you have face and neck tattoos and you come to a job interview, that's probably not going to go the way you want it to. I saw a video. There was a video on probably TikTok. It seems where a lot of this madness comes from. That made its way to YouTube, and somebody was reacting to it. And it's like, yeah, she had a tattoo of like a demon with a 5-point star right here, and she was just blown away that she couldn't get a job at like Marshall's or whatever it was, some
Mind you,
retail store.
That's a pretty metal tattoo.
It's a pretty metal tattoo.
It's pretty metal. It sounds pretty cool. However, the argument still stands. I may think it's cool. Your employer will not.
If you're applying for a retail position, and it's like, unless it's like Spencer's Gifts, you're probably not getting that job. If it's Kohl's, heavy metal tattoos on your neck and face at Kohl's, no. Target, no.
Nope.
Walmart, no.
Probably not.
Probably not. Hot Topic, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe.
Yeah, one like that.
Chick-fil-A, definitely no.
Unfortunately not, no.
No.
Hey, look,
In-N-Out Burger, no.
Working backstage with the sound crew at a music concert, yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. But if you're applying for a retail position, no.
The point I'm making here isn't that, look, your aesthetic fits in with certain jobs. The point is, those jobs aren't always going to be available. In fact, it's very difficult to find the job that you want. You sometimes have to, or most of the time, you have to reach out to the jobs that are available. Yep. Going to college, unfortunately, does not guarantee that you will work in the field that you have studied for.
Nope.
You will not be
your
making
sociology degree is useless.
Okay, and this one hit hard because I've got a couple of arts degree friends. The video game Cuphead, fantastic video game, great video game, very very old school. Cuphead, yes, it's a very cartoony video game.
To explain, I'm going to look it up and try. I've never
fantastic animation. I love it. It's very, very rubber hose animation, I think is what they called it. Very Tom and Jerry. You know, those old cartoons.
Okay.
Absolutely loved them. Loved the cartoons. Loved the video game. It was a challenge. It was hard. The artist that animated the video game did it old school drawings, frame by frame. Cuphead, yes.
Okay.
Old school frame by frame animation for this video game. No education in art whatsoever. Self-taught.
Well, art is dead. Have you seen what goes on at these art expos?
Modern art is weird. I don't get it. Unfortunately, I don't. It's not my thing. Look,
No. Don't say unfortunately you don't get it. Be glad you don't get it, because that means your brain still works. A guy running at a trampoline, bouncing off of it, and then running a marker across it as he's flying through the air, like just running, bounce, rubbing against the wall, and then landing, and then just doing that like 20 times. That's not art.
Saw a great video of a guy that splattered paint onto a canvas. I'm like, oh, great, one of these. But he kept at it, and then he started using tools to form squares and shapes, and then I realized what he was doing. If you look at the big picture, it was a cityscape in the rain, and you could see the reflections, which the paint dripped down and made them a little distorted, and I thought that was fantastic. Like, okay, I'm on board for that. That is cool shit.
Yeah, that sounds like, okay, now that's art and performance art.
That was awesome.
I saw one that it was shortly after 9/11. It was a guy taking like buckets of paint and just like splashing paint at a canvas in this different way, and they were playing the song "Will You Be My Hero."
I know that's okay.
Okay, and he's got this canvas and he's like spinning it, like splat, 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 spin, splat, 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 spin, splat, splat, splat. And you're like, oh, great, where is this going? You know, this is going to be stupid. And it formed kind of the look of like a colonial soldier. You know, with the the collar up and everything, and the trifold hat, and like a little bit. But he kept going. Bop, 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 bop. Spin, bop, bop, bop. You know, and he's just like flicking brushes everywhere. Like grab a brush, dip it into color, splat, 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 flick, throw it, grab another brush, get a different color, splat, 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 turn the canvas, da, 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 and kept going until he finally formed a picture of like a fireman carrying somebody, and he was selling the art at a benefit for 9/11
Beautiful.
first responders.
That's
and this
beautiful.
was like 2007, 2009, something like that.
Right.
It's like, yes, that is good.
I'm on board for that. Anyway, back to Cuphead. This girl, no schooling, no degree. She just did. She was self-taught. She loved the animation, so she learned how to do it. And not only did she do it, not only did she work painstakingly to animate each character and each boss fight and just the panels and making it into a video game, she did it while she was pregnant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
What a badass.
Yeah. And this is something we've talked about before several times. Be careful what you're going to school for. Learn a skill. Don't just go to get a degree. Don't get a degree for the sake of getting a degree. Learn a skill that is marketable. Because you've got people that it's like they've got a degree in lesbian dance theory, political science, I don't know, ancient architecture. As much as I enjoy architecture, I'm not going to go off and get a degree in it, because when I do, $60,000 later, guess what? None of the factories are hiring.
I'll tell you where, and it's very specific places where something like that would hire. Look, the UK has a lot of ancient buildings that are still up to code, but you have to know the history of said buildings. You have to know the ancient architecture of the materials that built it, the style it was built, the material, the tools that were used. That's an important one. That's an important one, because
who knows what an adze is?
I don't. I have no clue.
It's a type of, basically it's a gardening hoe.
Huh. Look, these degrees aren't entirely useless, but they are not entirely useful. They are not useful to a large scale.
No, it's very niche.
And just because the schools are offering it does not mean... Look, I've seen friends, actual friends from high school, travel across the country to get to a school that teaches the classes that they need to get a degree in something so...
Philosophy.
Something so out there that is something that I've never even heard of.
What are you going to do with a degree in philosophy?
That's a good question.
Other than be a philosophy teacher.
I did meet someone that claimed to be a philosopher. He was...
That usually means they're unemployed.
He was unemployed. He was lazy and living off of one of my loved ones' hard labor.
Ah, so he was a Karl Marx.
Yeah, this guy was... I don't like him. I don't like him. Didn't like him at all. I gave my honest opinion on him, and that didn't go over so well. But, no, lazy. Lazy is what he was.
Yeah.
And what was his philosophy about? He'd bring up animes that he watched and the meaning behind them and how he applies that to his life.
Right.
Great. Make it make money.
I mean, I've learned things from anime, but I wouldn't consider myself a philosopher of it.
Don't get me wrong. He also read some of the older books. You know, he loved Shakespeare. He loved Edgar Allan Poe. I'm like, okay, that's great. What do you know on philosophers? Oh, I haven't gotten into that yet. Then, how the fuck are you calling yourself a philosopher? You haven't studied the works of any other philosopher. You haven't developed any original ideas. All you're doing is lazing about, watching anime, getting stoned, occasionally picking up a fucking book, and talking out your ass.
Yeah.
You're a lazy punk. At one point, he might have been a construction worker, sure. I don't know how hard of a worker he was, but he got injured. And
well, gee willikers, you work construction, you get injured. It's a manual labor job.
And
it's like playing a contact sport. You're gonna get hurt.
After that, he was just living off of the workers' comp. I don't know how badly injured he was. He was up and mobile and walking around. I mean, my grandpa used to say, if you got a pulse and 2 working legs, you can work.
Yeah.
By the way, my great uncle had a pulse, 2 working legs, and only 1 working arm. Built a 3-story house. Single-handed.
I'm not even gonna rim shot that. That's f***ing impressive.
That was very impressive. He then, of course, allowed great-grandmother, who lived to be 104 and slept on the top floor.
Oh yeah, because she wanted death was gonna come and get her. She was gonna work for it.
That's right. She wanted death to work to get her. That's right. So he had to climb those goddamn stairs, and god damn it, she died sleeping in her favorite bed on the 3rd floor.
Which, if you've ever read the, oh god, what was it? The Incarnations of Immortality, I think it was called. Then Zane was probably cursing her for having to come and get her. It was a book series. I think his name was Anthony Zan. I'll have to look it up. And, okay, the positions of immortality: time, death, nature, fate, God, the devil. I think I'm leaving a few out. But anyways, each of these is an office. It is an office held by a person, or in the case of fates, 3 persons. But it is an office held, a title, passed from person to person to person. The book starts, the first book is called On a Pale Horse. Future may find it, put it here. Okay. Great fucking read. Good. Oh my god, dude. You pick what you've... They're hard to put down. And as much as I struggle to read, I couldn't put these down. They were great. And the dialogue...
remember to send me these books. Or, well, the titles. I can get the rest.
Okay. I have paperback editions of them. I think my mom might still have one of them.
I've been leaning to audiobooks a little more recently.
Okay, you will love these. I'm sure you will love these. The characters are great, but the philosophies of it, the necessity of death, what death really is. Okay, he is Zane. He's a down on his luck guy. This is the first book of like 6. Actually, of like 9. I looked it up a while ago. There was a continuation of it.
Nice.
He's down on his luck. His life has gone sideways. And in this world, magic exists. He's just completely given up. When he's sitting in his room contemplating suicide, he sees someone start to walk in. And I forget why, but he has a gun. And I think he was like ready to do it. And then somebody walks in, and he looks up, and it's Death. With the robe and the hood and everything. And so he takes his gun and shoots Death. Well, unfortunately, the guy wasn't wearing the... I forget why he left his hood down or something. The cloak makes you impervious to mortal weapons.
Uh-huh.
But only if you're wearing it correctly. You've got gloves and a hood and I think a mask that makes you look bone and protects you from mortal weapons. Stabbing, shooting, punching, whatever. It's not going to hurt you. But if you get sloppy, you forget to pull your hood up, your head's exposed, you're vulnerable. If you're not wearing your gloves, your hands are exposed, they're vulnerable. So this guy who was Death left his hood down, bang, shot him, killed him. And for some reason, he puts on the cloak. He just doesn't know why, but he just feels the need to put on the cloak. And now he is Death. He becomes Death. And fulfills that role. While the job of Death is to collect the persons whose souls are sort of 50-50. Most persons are going to go one way or the other when they die. Up or down. But there are people that are just sort of a mixed bag. And he has to kind of take a more personal interview with them. And he meets a gal who's ready to commit suicide because of what's happened in her life. He talks her out of it.
Interesting.
Convinces her that life is worth living. He collects the souls of a few babies. He collects souls and runs these stones over them. And depending on which way they glow on whether or not the soul was positive or negative, to go to heaven or hell. And there's just lays down these philosophies on the necessity of death, and that death should not be... He is compassionate to make it not scary. Collects a few people that are ready to go. He goes to a nursing home or a hospital where they've got all these people on life support that are just old, and they're full of cancer and disease and whatnot, and they want to die, but they physically can't because they've got the nursing staff and the machines that are keeping them alive. And life is just suffering for them. Every day is endless pain.
This is reminding me of a movie. I believe Matt Damon was in it.
Maybe they made a movie off of it. I don't know. And he just fucking destroys that room. Starts just destroy. He gets so angry and just causes all the machinery to malfunction, and all the people on the floor just start dying off and are finally released from the pain of living, because they're just hooked to these machines that make them live. They physically can't die because of the machines. And there's what do you do with that when a person's alive but they don't want to be anymore, because every day is just every hour is agonizing pain? So you grant them the mercy of death. You would love these books.
They sound fantastic.
Yeah.
So send me the titles at a later time, and it is getting a little late.
It is. It is 9 o'clock.
Yes, you got work tomorrow.
I don't want to go.
I'm sorry. You have not drank enough to be sick and unable to go in tomorrow.
Even if I did call in sick, nobody would believe it.
Yeah, this is true. I have the opposite problem.
That's the downside of establishing yourself as a person of ultimate reliability, of just always making sure you get your job done. that when you do start to say, no, I can't make it, something's come up, no one buys it. No one believes it.
I have the opposite problem. I go into work and I am sick, and people take one look at me and they say, no, go away. We know who you are. We know how you work. Today you can't. Get the fuck out. And you know what? I appreciate that. Because now I don't feel the guilt of being like, I'm too sick to come in, and thinking that someone is calling bullshit on me. So.
Yeah, cool. we played them all over.
Yeah, it's bedtime for you.
I'm not sleepy yet.
Yes, you are.
Okay, maybe just a little.
It is time for you to hit the hay, and it is time for me.
You like the Gila Monster?
I do like the little Gila Monster. I think it's pretty cool.
He's 3D printed.
That's awesome. 3D printers are so cool.
I don't know how. A man, Chris, 3D printed that. He said it even did the chain link.
Yes.
That connects all those pieces.
Super cool.
It's like, I don't understand how.
Technology is getting to the point where we can 3D print body parts. Simple things right now.
Oh my god, dude, yes.
Simple things right now. Cartilage, ears, noses, things like that. I have seen a 3D printed heart.
We can encode information on DNA. They've done this.
We are still mapping DNA, but we've
No,
mapped enough. We've mapped enough.
Not just breaking down what's in the DNA, but like taking molecules of DNA and encoding information onto them. Like taking like a book, okay, and translating those bits, those ones and zeros, into the GCAT of chromosomes. Breaking that down, translating it into that, putting it in DNA, and then being able to recover that information.
That's cool.
We can put information in DNA and get it back.
We've been tampering with stuff like this for a long time. Read Your Inner Fish. It's an interesting book about evolution, DNA, coding. It's super cool. One interesting thing that they did is they mapped out DNA and they found the DNA portion that makes hands. Cool. Okay. Awesome. They f with that, they end up with someone's hand. All right. Let's take the DNA sequence that makes a human hand and swap it into a fish's DNA and see what happens. They ended up with a fucked up fin. Functional, but semi-hand-like. Very fucked up fin. But the experiment was, would the coding take? It did.
Generationally.
The coding took. The fact that they can replace the fish's fin coding, or what would be the place where our hand coding is, with our hand coding, and it changing, was interesting. It was cool.
There is a belief out there, and there is possibility that we are a manufactured species.
I like that idea.
The reason we are so... I mean, you look at humans, and then look at all the other animals, and we are freaking bonkers. We are.
We are.
The technology we have is just absolutely bonkers compared to the capacities of any other animal. I mean, okay, other primates, our nearest primate. Why don't any of them do the things we do?
That is a very good question.
I mean, they're talking about chimpanzees are just now making stone tools.
Bonobos.
Yeah.
Bonobo. Yeah, they're even closer than chimps.
Yeah. Are just now entering the Stone Age, stone tools. They're just now seeing orangutans using spears to go fishing.
Orangutans are amazingly smart.
Yeah. And they're using spears. But that might be a little bit of culture contamination of watching villagers and other people, humans, go spear fishing. So maybe the orangutans learned from them and didn't figure it out on their own.
But even then, orangutans have figured stuff out on their own.
Yeah.
There's the orangutan that hid a wire in his lip. He watched humans use a key to lock and unlock his cage. No one taught him that he could also replace the key with a piece of steel, a wire, that he fandangled until he realized that he can bend it a little bit and turn it into a key to open his enclosure. He was opening his enclosure. In fact, this was a big deal because the damn orangutans were being found outside their enclosures every day. People were about to lose their jobs because someone kept forgetting to lock the enclosure. So, the threat of everyone getting fired because they just kept being sloppy every night and not locking the enclosure. Until they did their own investigation, put up some cameras, and saw this orangutan reaching around and picking the f***ing lock. No one taught him to do that. No one taught him to do that. He did it on his own. He figured this piece of wire may be there. Orangutans, by the way, the only great ape that we believe, if we can give a chimp, a gorilla, a bonobo, a screwdriver, and they're likely to sniff it, play around with it, and then throw it across the enclosure. Give one to an orangutan, they will study the fucking thing. They will test it out as a tool for different things. A hammer, maybe, an ice pick, but eventually they might look at the flathead or the Phillips tip and look at the screws and be taking the enclosure apart within hours, days. Who knows? They're intelligent.
They'll figure out that this interacts with this.
Incredibly intelligent creatures. They're pretty close. Not genetically close to us, but up here, they're pretty close. Oh, you're inner fish again. I thought this was very interesting. Okay, no one's going to argue against the fact that we share genes with the great apes.
Okay.
All right, thumbs, fingers, feet, shoulder, head, knees, and toes. You get it.
They're hominids.
Yeah, exactly.
Hominids.
However, it's the working codes within their DNA. Okay, cool. But there's also similar working codes with animals that are nothing like us. Whatever.
Okay.
There's this really cool fact that there are turned off codes. Codes that we don't need anymore. Gills? I mean...
Okay, junk DNA.
Junk DNA.
What they're calling junk DNA.
Exactly. The junk DNA. The sequences that are shut off.
Yeah.
It's crazy that we share junk DNA that serves no purpose between us and chimps. Junk DNA that is incredibly similar and yet serves no purpose.
Such as tails.
How freaking cool is that? I love that. What does that mean?
At one point, we had a common ancestor.
We did. I fucking love that. It's an argument against people that don't understand how evolution works.
Yeah.
But
here's the crazy thing. If you get into like the Chronicle of Gilgamesh, you go back, the Anunnaki and all things like that, that we were supposedly, like, they needed laborers to do things, to dig holes, to dig trenches, to mine gold maybe. It's like, why do we find gold so damned interesting? Especially gold. The further back you go in history, the more useless gold is.
Shiny.
It's shiny, sure, but a lot of things are shiny. I mean, you could take some rocks, polish them up, and make them shiny.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, and the rock is more useful than gold. And it's rare. Gold is rare and it's shiny, sure. But why was we so fascinated with it? One theory is that these aliens engineered us to do two things. Dig up gold and be loyal. And that's one of the reasons we always feel the need to worship some sort of sky man.
Interesting.
Because that's where they came from. I'm heavily simplifying, and it's really interesting to even kind of think about. But there is different trains of thought saying that we are a manufactured species, that they took primates or maybe even primitive humans. And it's like, why are we so different from any other species on Earth? Why is it? I mean, we always say to children, monkey see, monkey do. Why is it our ancestors did something so different from another group of monkeys? Our monkey ancestors did something different from another group of monkeys, and those group of monkeys over there decided not to do it. Why? We started throwing rocks. They didn't. We gathered fire. They didn't. We picked up sticks and started using them. They didn't. Why?
The idea. I don't know if you ever heard of DNA memories.
DNA memories?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right. Interesting concept. It's actually been explored and used in video games. I thought that was kind of funny. But DNA memories. Going back to the idea that we were manufactured. What if, like baking a cake, we were seeded, and now they were just waiting for the cake to be done until they finally got the final product, the cake, us, to do the thing that we had to do. And of course, that idea of finding the shinies was implanted in us. Something that we actually see in a few other animals. Finding the shinies.
Especially corvids.
Exactly. Another intelligent creature.
Yeah. There are clever creatures out there. They can use tools. They communicate with each other. They form communities. They take care of their wounded. And they do all of these interesting things. But none of them have fucking rocket ships.
No. But it's funny that we share a semi-similar thing with them. Maybe that DNA memory was activated with them by accident.
Raccoons and crows and I think even horses collect shiny things. Well, actually,
Horses?
Not sure about horses, but like at least corvids, crows, ravens, raccoons are known to do it as well.
That's true.
I think maybe even foxes. But, there's a lot of animals out there that, they collect shiny
Penguins.
things. They like things. They like shiny things.
Yeah. Shiny.
But none of them have cell phones. We're the only ones. Why?
Good job, humanity. At the same time, we're pretty dumb in some aspects, but...
Well, yeah, I mean, Darwin Awards exist.
Mm-hmm.
People pointing guns at their crotch and playing with the trigger exist.
Jesus, I saw that video.
That's not just one? You only saw one?
I saw a video of that, yes.
That was a trend.
Oh my... No.
That was a challenge.
No.
That was an internet... Oh, yes. That was an internet challenge.
No.
The internet creates, the internet destroys.
Oh, that dude shot his dick off.
Yes, right up there with owling and planking and doing all these other things and running up behind people and taking their shorts down. There's all these dumb internet pranks and internet challenges that cause people to remove themselves from the gene pool. And shooting your dick off is one of them.
I'm not going to question it.
Nope, it happens.
Yeah. It happens.
And speaking of which, I need to empty mine.
You want to call it quits because it's getting late, my dude.
Okay, yeah, we'll just wrap it up.
Yeah.
We'll just wrap it up. Okay, so mead is awesome. Vikings are great.
Yeah.
We know a Viking. Well, he knows a Viking. I know a Viking through him. So 7 degrees of bacon.
Vikings like shiny.
Vikings like shiny things. That is why they raided various farms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And churches. Churches often had very many shiny things.
Yeah, this is true.
Google Lindisfarne. Lindisfarne. Have fun. Dark.
Yeah.
Those who know. Those who don't know. Or those who don't know. Those who know. We will see you next time. Actually, I'll probably chop this into 2 episodes because it's like 2.5 hours.
It is pretty long.
Yeah. All right. Toodly oodly. Bye.